Hi, I'm Mrs. Nichols, and today I'm going to be talking about students living in poverty. The objective of our lesson is going to be to identify those students living in poverty, examine the consequences of poverty on education, and propose actions teachers can take to help students living in poverty. So, who are our students in poverty? As you can see from this picture, our students living in poverty include homeless students. According to the U.S. government, poverty is defined by a family income of less than $25,000 a year. Approximately one quarter of all of our students live in poverty. And finally, students living in poverty make up one third of students with disabilities. Student poverty is causing students contributing to them becoming in special education. So, what are the challenges of poverty? Well, poor nutrition and health without enough money to buy good foods like fruits and vegetables. Students end up having poor nutrition without the money to pay for doctors and medications or even health insurance. These students don't get taken care of as well as they should. They may have lingering disorders or diseases, and as a result, that affects their education and their learning. Students living in poverty may also experience inadequate housing, and frequently they may move from place to place or school district to school district. The next item is unhealthy social environments. This would include things like gangs, not having community resources such as a civic center or community center, just living in a community that's full of violence. The next item on the list is emotional stress or depression. And you're going to see that all these items connect to cause emotional stress and depression. If you don't have food to eat tomorrow, you're going to be worried about that. If someone's getting shot outside your house, that's going to cause stress. If you don't know where you'll be living next week, that's going to cause stress. Um, really hard to concentrate on learning when you are worried about these basic human needs. When you're worried about basic new human needs, this can develop into depression or other emotional and behavioral issues. The next item is gaps in knowledge. If you're moving around or missing time from school because of poor nutrition, you can end up missing important lessons, never getting to know your times tables, not learning how to do division, poor reading comprehension skills, really getting gaps in the basic skills, not to mention what happens later on when these students enter high school and don't have the skills they need once they get to high school. Finally, students who live in poverty may be rejected or neglected by peers. Uh, Peers just may not want to interact with them. They may ignore them. Students living in poverty are often the new kid because they move around so much and they never get accepted or build friendships. And then it becomes that they don't have the skills to build friendships. So, as you know, this all sounds really bad, but what as teachers can we do to help? Well, you can be a source of academic and emotional support. Be accessible for your students. Be someone they can talk to. Let them know that you're there to listen to them. Um, tell them they do a good job when they do, or encourage them to do a good job. Encourage them to try new things. Help them with the skills that they are struggling with. Maybe even adapt stuff to work to their skills at that time. The next thing you can do is build on the student's strengths. A lot of students living in poverty have skills the other students don't have. Cooking dinner, childcare, they've gotten part-time jobs. Work with that, build on that, use it as part of your lessons, help them, incorporate that all together and use that to your advantage. The next thing is to identify missing resources and experiences. Now, these resources would include things to help their family get proper medications through government programs, hooking them up with a social worker who can help them apply for those programs, Medicare, Medicaid, that kind of stuff, Social Security, income for low-income families. There's some state programs, things like that, housing programs, just getting them to the county assistance office, letting them know what's out there. It might even be getting a resource for your student. Maybe people donate computers and you can get one for your student that way. Different things to help them, access to books. And the next thing is experiences. That would be maybe they never got to go to an aquarium or a zoo or a science center. those are things as a teacher you can try to incorporate into your curriculum. The next item is relate learning to real life or students' interests. Uh, maybe they're interested in video games and you can make learning more attractive by getting a game going or something of that nature. And as far as real life goes, show them a life application for what you're teaching them. If you're working on math, you can teach them how to write out checks or pay bills or something of that nature. The next item is encourage cooperative learning to promote social development and higher order skills. We've learned so much in our courses about how important cooperative learning can be, collaborative learning, getting students to work together. It works for English as a second language students, it works for children with disabilities, having them work through projects in groups, or having them work with a peer tutor, peer buddy, that sort of thing. So that's our lesson for today. We talked about students who live in poverty. We talked about challenges of poverty, and we talked about what teachers can do. I hope you take some of this away and are able to apply it to your teaching. Thank you very much.